Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, raw passion, all action, when it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything, give it all, everything. We are racing, when it takes, we are SailGP.
It's the dawn of a new campaign as the world's best sailors are prepared to go to work in search of a title on the waters in the port of Mina Rashid. For the third time, SailGP will race in Dubai, and the hunt is on as the 2025 season begins. We welcome you to Event 1 as the chase gets underway for the Rolex SailGP Championship at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. The anticipation is building for the first day of racing on the beautiful waters of the Arabian Gulf. Today marks the start of this fifth season of action as the 12 national teams will race at iconic locations around the globe over the span of 12 months. The 2025 season kicks off in Dubai, but several familiar stops return along the way to the finale. SailGP returns to the traditional venues of Sydney, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Cadiz. But new additions have been introduced to the calendar, such as Auckland, Lake Geneva in Switzerland, and Sassnitz, Germany. It's 5 continents and 365 days, culminating in the showdown in Abu Dhabi next November.
SailGP is our close-to-shore, nation versus nation, high-speed, high-tech racing series that is truly like no other. The league started in 2018 to redefine the future of sailing. Our competition takes us to 14 epic locations for our biggest series yet. The Rolex SailGP Championship is decided at the end of the season following a year-long competition where the best of the best rack up points competing for a $12.8 million prize pool, with a grand final winner taking $2 million. This showdown is where the top 3 teams go head-to-head to carve their name in the SailGP Championship trophy. SailGP races take place on a standardised course designed for both speed and spectator engagement. The course features a series of marks that teams must navigate around, including the start line, gates and finish line. The course consists of several legs, including upwind and downwind sections, where teams must execute tacks and jides and manoeuvre around marks placed at each end of the course. This requires teams to make strategic decisions about which side of the gate to pass through, adding a tactical element to the race. The spectacular part of what makes SailGP unique is that all of the teams compete in identical F50s. The F50 is a catamaran that revolutionised the sport with its foiling design, lifting the boats out of the water, minimising drag and approaching speeds of 100 kilometres an hour. These high-tech catamarans can go over 3 times the speed of the wind, with the athletes on board experiencing up to 3 Gs of force. Similar to an aeroplane on a runway, when the F50 reaches the right speed, its hydrofoils lift the boat out of the water. But these spectacular athletes are on the limit. Fly too high and you'll lose control. The crashes can be spectacular.
Oh, it's going to be a crash! Here goes Australia!
It will be thrilling to see how the new teams measure up against the established powerhouses of SailGP.
One item that has not changed from last season is the event schedule. Day 1 will see 3 full fleet races, followed by 2 more fleet races on Sunday, and then the event finale, which will feature just the top 3 teams on points. 12 international teams begin the race for the title, which will culminate next November in the Middle East as we take you on board and behind the scenes. Right now, for an in-depth look at the conditions and what we can expect, we go down to the 4th member of our broadcast team. Here is Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darman, and hopefully with the good news.
Todd, it's great to be back for the 2025 season and kick things off here in Dubai. Right now on the water, winds are fairly light and patchy. We're seeing 10 kilometres per hour up to about 20 kilometres per hour at the moment. We are expecting it to improve as the land heats up throughout the afternoon, which is a good news for foiling boats. To account for the lighter forecast, we have the 29-metre large wings on the F50s to harness more power, but they are a little bit heavier, which makes those foiling manoeuvres quite difficult. Although some teams have managed to pop on and execute those foiling manoeuvres, I do think we are going to be slightly delayed though. We're going to wait for wind, make sure that it builds so that we have that action-packed racing that we've all been craving in that off-season. It's been a really big lead up on the ground here with a couple of teams here for a couple of weeks actually, and some just a few days, so I'm sure they just have to wait a little bit longer.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. It is official. Race management has postponed the start of the race by some 20 minutes. So more on that as we get closer to racing. Well, the transfer season in the SailGP break was the most active we've seen since the inception of the series. And it's going to shake up the pecking order as we head into the season with 2 new teams joining the league for 2025. So with that, we say welcome to Brazil and Italy.
The Mubadala Brazil SailGP team is making history, with double Olympic gold medalist Martine Grael at the helm, becoming the first female driver in SailGP. This team boasts an impressive lineup of Brazilian talent and one of the most exciting international transfers of the season. Flight controller Andy Maloney, formerly with New Zealand's Black Falls, brings his world-class expertise to the team. The roster is further strengthened by SailGP veterans Lee McMillan and Richard Mason.
I think in this very beginning, the goal is to bond together and soon try to, take the ladder, up.
The Red Bull Italy SailGP team is packed with talent and is masterminded by legend Jimmy Spithill. Double Olympic gold medalist Rogério Tita takes driving duties and will be racing alongside Kyle Langford, previously of Team Australia, in one of the most unexpected transfers of the season.
We have Kyle on board, which is fantastic having him. We are really happy. We are learning a lot in a bit of time, but all these talented guys with different backgrounds will become for sure a very strong team.
Canada are under new ownership as North Star SailGP team and have managed to recruit double gold medalist Giles Scott from Emirates Team GBR.
My Canadian link goes back quite a way. I grew up there as a very young child. Yeah, I'm super pleased and proud to be able to represent the Maple Leaf.
Fans might have expected Ben Ainsley to return to Emirates GBR with Giles Scott's transfer to Canada. But after Dylan Fletcher's performance in the America's Cup, this gold medalist and Moth World Champion joins the British team as driver, with Ben Ainsley as CEO.
The last time I sailed in F50 was in season 1 back in Marseille. So yeah, it's been a while. The biggest difference is the level. It's much higher, and it's nice to have the opportunity to race against the world's best in one design boats and really show what we're capable of.
Spain's Season 4 victory was unexpected, but Diego and Florian's Olympic gold soon after cemented their legendary status in the sport. The only change is a new grinder, Bottin's ex-Olympic partner, Lego Lopez Mara.
We maintained a very strong team, which is very good. After winning, obviously there is more expectation on us. That comes with the results.
So the 2 biggest changes coming to the fleet in this season will be the additions of Brazil and Italy. Glad to be joined by my racing colleagues, Stevie Morrison and Emily Nagel. Emily, let's talk about Brazil. What a talent trove they bring to SailGP.
Yeah, it's incredibly exciting to welcome this team to the fleet. Martine comes along with 2 Olympic gold medals, so she's got heaps of experience herself, but she's been really smart about the team she builds around her, bringing in experience with the likes of Andy Maloney on flight control. We think that might be the best transfer of the season, as well as Rich Mason in the strategist role. Previously, he was a grinder for Emirates GBR, but he is a very well-rounded sailor, so could be a really good fit for the strategist position. And then Lee McMillan on wing trim, a strong choice.
And Stevie, let's talk about Red Bull Italy. They've got a great team as well. 2-time Olympic gold medalist in Rogério Tita.
Yeah, I mean, Rogero's proven himself to be the best amongst the best of the best, but we'll find out for sure here, won't we? That's the case. Kyle Langford, what a signing, but Jimmy Spithill, no surprise to think that someone like Jimmy can pull all the strings and get the big guns in. So excited to see what these new teams can do, really.
Well, the target will be on the back of Spain. They are the winners from season number 4 as the Spanish took the big win and walked away with the title, and they will be the team to beat this season. Earlier, Lisa Darmanin had a chance to catch up with the Spaniards as they get ready to start off this 5th season.
We're back. The season's about to start. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, it's amazing to see 11 boats today in the race course with two new teams. Yeah, many new things happening. Good conditions here. We have the big wind zone, so it's going to be an amazing day.
And coming in as the reigning champions, everyone's talking about pressure. Do you feel any pressure?
Well, to be honest, less than at the end of last season. But yeah, it's a great moment for us to push, to keep building and to try new things. No, we will do that and see how it works.
And you've got the 29-meter wing. You guys usually do well with that.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. I think it's good for these conditions. It evens up the playing field a bit because wind shadows are not so painful, and yeah, we will see how it goes.
Thanks, Diego. Have a good race.
Thank you very much.
So the teams are getting set as we are ready to launch for the 2025 season, the Rolex SailGP Championship. This is day number 1 of the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. We're excited to go sailing here in Dubai in just a moment of time.
Sailing is an incredibly peaceful sport, but it's not anymore.
In the age of speed, we need ships that go fast.
The F-50s are a pretty different animal. Right now, the top speed is just under 100 kilometers per hour.
We've got 3 days where we're testing. There's some big upgrades happening to the boats.
First of all, the new T-foils.
These foils are designed to not only give the boat a little more control, but have a much higher top end speed.
No one's gone 100.0. Make us the second fastest boat in the world ever.
Evolution tends to build on what's been done in the past.
And the evolution of these boats has been pretty phenomenal over the last 10 years.
So the F-50 was previously known as the AC-50, which was in the America's Cup.
The decision was made to create the F-50.
Sailing on a new course, into a new age.
This is SailGP.
And now we're back in the stage where we're looking to speed things up again.
Another speed run. 3, 2, 1. At least 65 tugging, if not. Go for it. A little bit further yet. All right, ready for speed run?
Here we go.
Back scope there, bounce coming down now. There we go. Have to take a little more rudder off now.
76, 78. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well, smashed it.
Nice.
Do we get it? 101. Cross 9.8. Yeah.
Who knows where the performance of these boats will be in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, but there's no doubt that it's an exciting league to be part of because it's always evolving and constantly seeking what that next big advancement's going to be.
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Back in Dubai, just moments away from sailing here for the 2025 season at the Rolex SailGP Championship. Well, a record-breaking 12 teams will vie for the crown in the Rolex SailGP 2025 season. And while it's been a busy transfer season for some of our teams, for others, keeping the familiar squad together is as familiar as finding new players. And we're about to find out how it all plays out as new team members are figured into the new rosters.
SailGP races one design F50s. Everything is identical. The athletes make the difference, and the chemistry within the team is crucial. Keeping talent is tough, but Rockwool Denmark have managed to retain their entire squad and bolster it with the transfer from Australia, the F50 Swiss Army knife, Ed Powys.
People are not trying to poach us and our sailors, but it'll be paying off this season that we stick together and we love sailing together as a team.
France have retained their squad too and will be looking to right their wrong after a crash ended their chance at a grand final spot last season.
Close, too close! Did it crash? Oh, no! We got collision!
France will not race in Dubai as they're waiting for the 12th boat to be completed. Quentin and his team will have to wait until Auckland, receiving average points for this event. Another team that's retained its squad is Germany. Now in their second season, they'll be expected to stay ahead of the new teams, a tall order given the talent that has entered the series. Switzerland welcomed back driver Sebastian Schneider after his Olympic break. With transfers such as Stuart Dodson, this team is making subtle changes to start climbing the leaderboard.
It's been a while. It's been in February last time I was driving, but yeah, the boat is super comfortable and the guys are making a good job to keep me ready.
The United States SailGP team came under new ownership last season, and with it came a crew shake-up. They've added a new lick of paint to their F50 and welcomed back Paris 2024 bronze medalist Hans Henken to flight controller duties.
You know, got a new livery this week, which the Statue of Liberty, got the old girl up looking over us, you know, like she does New York Harbor. So yeah, excited to get going.
With New Zealand's Black Fours losing flight controller Andy Maloney, they've made a smart signing with Leo Takahashi, formerly of USA and Japan.
It's a really exciting thing, you know, seeing people, you know, getting these big offers to go to other teams, take other opportunities. You know, I think it's really positive for the sport. You know, seeing that excitement grow, you know, around the fleet, and you know, it's a little bit painful for us as a team, but you know, that's all part of the fun of sport.
Australia had one of the most tight-knit teams of the series. To lose Carl Langford is without doubt going to hurt the team, but they found talent in double silver medalist Chris Draper, who takes on wing trimming duties this season.
It was a huge hit for our team in the transfer market. When you pull out such a key person like Carl Langford out of our team and put him to a competitor out there, it is tough. I'm really confident that we'll be fine and we'll be able to stay near the front of the fleet, but yeah, it was a big blow to our team when we first heard.
So, Stevie, some teams trying to retain that talent, and it's going to be difficult because now it is really on for these other squads.
Well, in their professional league, isn't it? These guys are out there to earn money, and the sailors on the boats are trying to make a living, and there have been some big transfers. I'd love to find out what it costs to get Andy Maloney out of that New Zealand team, but I feel that's a huge loss to New Zealand. It could have a real impact on their season. Leo Takahashi's been there before. I know he can do it well, but pressure's on now to really get it done.
And Emily, for Australia, it's next man up for Tom Slingsby's crew.
Yeah, it's a huge hit as well to lose Carl Langford. He was a key member in all of the communications on board. But Chris Draper, that is a powerhouse to be bringing into that role. He's been in multiple other SailGP teams over the year because he is so tactically minded. It's a really sensible choice, and I think they will go well.
One team missing for this event is Team France. Now, they'll be back for our next event in Auckland in January, but driver Quentin Delapierre is watching the action in Dubai from the sidelines. Bienvenue, Quentin. Give us an update. Will you guys be ready come January for event number 2?
Yeah, I'm happy to be there, happy to be in Dubai, and just to see this first racing there. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to race here this weekend. But it's always good to see the other one and have some good feedback for Auckland.
And Quentin, I know you'll be back ready to race in Auckland, but is this really all part of the strategy? I see you're sat with the other teams. Are you able to learn a lot being in with the other coaches? Will you be gaining some information for when you come back?
Yeah, exactly. And it's always good. I mean, it's nice to be the first time in the coach booth. Never been before, and it looks like the Champions League here. All the big names out there. I can see some big hiring from all the other team, and it's nice to see SailGP going in this way.
Quentin, thank you so much for your time. Bon chance to you and the rest of the team as we will see you in Auckland in January. Well, in 12 months' time from now, we'll be back in the Middle East crowning our 2025 season winner. But how do you win the most exciting race on water?
At the end of Season 5, the winning team will lift the Rolex SailGP Championship trophy and claim their share of a $12.8 million prize pool. But how does it all work? Our scoring system rewards points for each race that the teams compete in across a race event. The top 3 teams with the most points will face off in an event final, a 3-way final race to determine who takes the event title and battles it out for maximum points towards the season standings. 10 to the winner, 9 for second and 8 for third. 4th to 10th place are awarded season points based on their position from only the fleet races. These points are crucial for the season-long Rolex SailGP Championship leaderboard. The leaderboard is recalculated after each event, and the 3 highest-ranked teams at the end of the season will qualify for the winner-takes-all grand final.
So we're getting closer and closer to the big moment, the first race of the 2025 season for the Rolex SailGP Championship here at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. Steve, we've covered a lot of territory as the teams now are putting on the final touches on those brand new boats, new colors, and we've got 11 boats that'll be racing out today. What is the most exciting part for you?
I just think this first start and into Gate 2 is going to be so close. And ultimately with all of this, it's going to be communication. How well have the teams learned how to gel? How well have they learned how to understand each other? Because you might bring in a superstar like Andy Maloney, you might bring in Carl Langford, but if you can't understand what they're trying to say to each other, you're not going to get the performance.
And I've got to wonder what's going through the minds right now of Martini Grail and Ruggiero Tita. I mean, they are coming out here racing with the best of the best, and they've earned their spot to come in here, but when you put everyone on the line, as you said, getting to mark number 1, it's going to be a little bit dicey.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a little bit nervous, a little bit apprehensive, but what they will be able to do is look on their record, both of them double Olympic gold medalists. They know they can do it, they've just got to start delivering now, but this event very much going to be learning for them, a lot to be learned. Look at the new colour schemes on the boats out there as well, Todd. They look absolutely spectacular on the water, and once they get heading towards that start line, the fans on the shore, well, they're going to get a real spectacle.
Well, we are less than 10 minutes away from the start of this season. When we come back, it's time to go racing here at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas. We now have an opportunity to go into the coach's box. Felipe Presti and Red Bull Italy. Felipe and Jimmy, you guys are the brain trust now. What are you guys expecting today in this very first race in light conditions? Felipe, can you give us an idea of what you guys are looking forward to here for the Red Bull Italy team?
They're talking to you. Stevie.
Apologies. Apologies, a little bit of a communication glitch there, Stevie, but we talked about this with Brazil and Italy coming in. This is the moment they've been preparing for the last several months.
Well, they are, and Felipe Presti, I mean, he is one of the rock star coaches, and it's no surprise that he's followed across with Jimmy Spittle to that Italian team.
And they brought in so much talent. We'll try it one more time. Felipe Presti, if you can hear us, what are your thoughts going into this very first race for this new Red Bull Italy team?
Super exciting. It's pretty light at the moment, but we try to sort it out. A lot of issue with the boat still, but you know, it's a new team, so everything is new, so it's super exciting.
What's your advice to the team as they head out to the start box?
At the start, be in front and elbow out. That's my advice.
Felipe, appreciate your time. We wish you and Jimmy the best of luck and the entire Red Bull Italy team.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Well, good opportunity to talk to him. Stevie, he has sailed a few races in his life and he has got a bit of knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, hugely successful coach, sailor in his own right, but used to putting a new team together. He'll know Kyle very well. He's worked with a lot of these Italian sailors in other teams, so he'll know how to get the team going, and I'm sure there's been a little bit more input than just what he gave us then.
We are getting to that moment where we will release the hounds and we will be off and racing once again here in Dubai.
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Well, the fans, Stevie, are going to get an opportunity to pick up souvenirs, grab their favorite flag, and wave them. Hopefully the breeze will pick up, and we will be filled. As Lisa Darmanin said earlier, we have the opportunity to see the race being pushed back about 20-25 minutes, and that, of course, obviously is to see if the wind will fill in like it normally does in the afternoon.
Well, we want to try and give ourselves the best opportunity to get the foiling boats to give these fans the view they want to have. There's an amazing turnout in the shore here in Dubai, and we know how much they love the racing. Of course, we had the closest finish right in front of the fans last year, so we're expecting a lot of drama when it gets up and running. For the crews, where it's just going to build the anticipation, build the nerves, and, you know, will they be able to come out firing when that first start is brought our way.
Well, the fans continue to make their way in on a beautiful day in Dubai as they get ready to watch the world's best race here on this beautiful body of water. Right now it's time for Emily Nagel and the course map.
Welcome to our stadium racecourse here in Dubai. With 11 boats on the start line, pole position is critical. To start, the fleet have a 20-second drag race to Mark 1 before heading downwind. Here we will see the first big decision made for the strategists to turn left or right, but with the wind lighter at the bottom gate, they need to manoeuvre carefully to stay on the foils. As one of our shortest courses at half a mile long, there won't be much space to overtake. Gate 3 is a key opportunity to get back up on the foils and stretch their legs downwind. The final leg is a sprint for the finish, close enough to shake hands with the fans in the grandstand.
All right, thank you very much, Em, as we get a look at the teams out on the water here at the Mina Rashid. The most important person on that screen is not on that screen. That is Lisa Darmanin, who's going to give us the latest update on the weather. Lisa, what do you know? Fingers crossed.
Well, the teams are lining up for this start. It is still quite patchy out here, and what I mean by that is there's real pockets of wind, so it's going to be about the athletes finding those pockets and using those moments. I think if you're looking up from the grandstand, the right-hand side of the course for now has a little bit more breeze, but that's changing every single moment. There have been some teams foiling around, but it's going to be about getting to the edges, so I think they'll really be pushing those boundaries, trying to not get in the middle of the course where all that bad areas. So it's going to be a really difficult race for everyone. We'll probably see the leaders extend because they'll be in clear air there, the ones likely to stay on the foils. But if you're back in the pack, it's going to be elbows out, it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be finding those pockets of wind, which is going to be pretty hard out here in Dubai.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. The big 29-meter wings are out, and it is all about familiar faces in new places as we get set to go racing. This is the scene here in Dubai as the 2025 season is upon us, the Rolex SailGP Championship. Todd Harris alongside Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, and Lisa Darmanin. Light breeze has been reported, so Stevie, to Lisa's point, boy, you better be out in front because otherwise you're going to be back in the pack, and as she said, elbows out.
Yeah, more boats in the fleet means overtaking is going to be a priority. And it's interesting to hear Diego talking about how, you know, the 29-meter perhaps meant you could survive in the more confused, you know, turbulent wind if you're behind someone. Here we are, Diego, of course, coming back. Last race he did in SailGP, well, it won him $2 million. More prize money on the line this season, so that crew's going to be really, really fired up. Can't wait to see what they do. But 29-meter wing, there is not going to be a lot of wind in this start area. If you're behind at the start, big problem.
All right, 1:18 to go before the start of this race. Stevie, one thing people might notice, normally we have 6 on board. We're going 5 today, saving the weight, hopefully a little extra more speed.
Yeah, a little bit less wind out there. We're looking for about 15 kilometers an hour to get up and foiling, but a few less kilos on the boat is going to really help them start to fly.
And the final minute before the start of the 2025 season now is upon us. 11 teams out there. We'll have France back in the next event in January in Auckland. So it is all about racing. It's all about getting that pole position.
Yeah, and that blue triangle bottom on the right-hand side of our screen, that is the pole position. That's a theoretical best place to start to get to Mark 1 first. But what's going to be really crucial is hitting the line with speed. And even more important than that, are you fast enough to get up and foiling to get these boats out of the water, really minimise the drag and accelerate away. Germany very early back to the start, towards the bottom end of the start line. They're near the pole position, but Marcini Grail coming in there on the Brazilian boat. Not sure if there's room behind Tom Slingsby's Australia. The boats are close to the line here. 19 seconds to go. Germany well positioned but slow. United States on a good run towards the bottom end of the line, top of our screen. And Australia, have they got room at the top here? Has Slingsby judged it right? Season 5 is about to be alive here in Dubai, and we're going to be go when the line turns white. We're racing there. That was so tight by the Italian boat, but it looks like they've judged it perfectly. At the bottom of the line, United States. I love the position of Taylor Canfield and that all-American crew as they drag race towards Mark 1. Who's going to be first to get on the foils? Can New Zealand pop the Black Foils boat up and flying? I think the United States looks strong to lead at Mark 1 from here.
Okay, not yet. Might have good pressure to do it, but unsure. Check your rake. Okay, adjust. The rudder's low for now, okay, so we're not bearing the bow. Keep grinding across here, guys. It's super
So it's an H1 format for the Americans, the newly minted American boat, as they make their way to mark number 1 here. This is the first race of the 2025 season, and the Stars and Stripes are out in front.
Yeah, great positioning by the US SailGP team. They're going to get themselves round Mark 1. They might be able to pop the boat on the foil as they bear the boat away from the wind at this Mark 1, but they'll be most keen to keep good positioning
I don't
here.
think it's worth it. No, H1? I don't think so. And taking the rudders in neutral here. Let's go bodies in, please. Yep. Everyone.
Talk about not wanting to risk it, not thinking it's worth it. They've probably got to sell a bit of extra distance if they want to get foiling. Canfield keen to minimise distance as he heads down towards gate 2 at the top of our screen. And Great Britain and the defending champion Spain, they're wallowing at the back of the fleet. There's really not a lot of wind if you get stuck behind the fleet in these light breezes.
3 races today. Remember, you get 10 points for a win, so if you sweep the day, you're on 30 points. And right now, the Americans to the best start. They've needed this for a long time.
Todd, Stevie, Australia, they are up on the foils. Rockwell Racing are also up on the foils, chasing the Americans down.
Ooh, so Tom Slingsby finds a way.
Oh, he's got Chris Draper, the new wing trimmer, and he's renowned for his light wind skills. Soft hands. Rockwell Denmark up and flying as well. Those two boats are going to be charging through the fleet. But what's going to be more important is this next manoeuvre. Let's keep our eyes on Australia. Can they stay on the foils? Right-hand side of our screen now, they turn the boat. Will they stay flying? It looks so light as they approach the fans. I don't think they'll stay on the foils, but Australia from mid-fleet up to second, and they will be challenging the lead after this manoeuvre.
Lisa, we talk about the term patchy out there. What side of the course is less patchy and maybe more favorable for these teams?
I actually think the left-hand side is more patchy, but that means there's actually more wind over there. So the discrepancy between light wind and more wind is... So where Australia and Denmark, even though they weren't first to Mark 1, they found more wind, which is why they were able to pop up on the foils. But it's going to really condense down at this bottom gate. And that decision, left or right, is really hard, Todd.
Yeah, I think the positioning-wise right now, Todd, Canada were the first to turn away. Top left-hand corner of our screen. So they've got clear wind, but they're struggling to make much of a move. The New Zealand boat seems to really be maximising their performance towards the bottom of the fleet there. They're sitting in third at the moment, but they've made a lovely gain here. It's all about keeping the flow. Gate 2, you'd want to take a left turn if you can to try and move forward. Denmark, they got on the foils, but that extra speed fired them off the course, and they lost a 60-metre penalty for going out of bounds. So 60 metres this early in the race, so costly.
And there is the U.S. SailGP team trying to find some win as they approach this gate number 2. They have the lead. Australia in second, New Zealand in third, Great Britain in fourth, and then the Germans round out the top 5.
I think we'll take you up for the turn, okay? Copy that.
I think the US team there. It was interesting to see where all the crew was sat. We've got Hans Henken, bronze medalist, back on board. Bona fide Stanford University aeronautical engineer. So to have him down there looking at the wing, checking that wing set well, helping Jeremy Wilmot, the wing trimmer. The whole team dynamic changes when you've got less people on the boat and if the boat's not foiling.
Look at Anna Weiss going to work.
Hold there. And hit it, Anna. I'm a little thin. Yeah.
Love the constant communication.
Yeah, it's all about communication, Todd. That's right. There's so many interactive jobs. It's like trying to drive a car. You've got the steering wheel, you've got the gear stick, and you've got the brake pedal or the accelerator pedal, and all of those are being done by different people. So if you don't do that well, very easy to crash. Now, here we go.
On board Australia.
Yeah, Jason Waterhouse, right-hand side, would be a flight controller, but of course it's a little bit light for that at the moment. We see Tash Bryant. She's going pretty hard on the handles as well. I doubt she's got quite the same horsepower as Anna Weiss, but doing enough. Chris Draper, wing trimmer, well, he seems to be settling into the role pretty well. First boat to take the other turn, the right turn, it's Peter Burling, Blair Took and that Kiwi crew, and they tend to be pretty good at finding their way tactically around a racetrack. So will they make a gain? Dylan Fletcher on board Emirates Great Britain. They follow out. It's low and it's slow at the bottom of the course, but tactically this is the absolutely defining moment in the race. Can you find speed out of gate 2? Will define whether you finish very high or at the back of the pack in this first race of the season.
That boundary in 20, guys.
So around the DP World Gate here as we make our way back up course. And Stevie, this will be interesting to see who finds the open breeze, who finds the space. Right now, it's US SailGP with Australia in second place. They are away from everyone else, away from the disturbed air.
Yeah, well, that's right. And as you say, I mean, ultimately, if you're out in front, you've just got a huge advantage. You get to make your own choices. You will have more wind. That's just the nature of the beast. So for the boats behind, it's a harder game. But we did hear Jeremy Wilmot, Taylor Canfield talking to each other then. And these conditions really suit them. Taylor, if you remember with their first event with Taylor as the driver, they came in Abu Dhabi last season. They got a podium finish, third place. So they'll be enjoying this. They talked about good wind, but these first three boats, just look at them stretch away from the fleet. Got a split across the course there, left-hand side. Well, New Zealand showing us faster at the moment, 20 kilometres an hour, but there's not a lot in it. I think that means that the Kiwis, potentially a small gain, but for Australia and the US SailGP team, well, they're moving away nicely, and they should be able to cement a good first race here.
So much of this about this light breeze, Stevie, these 29-meter wings is minimizing the maneuvers. We just saw New Zealand looked like they were flying H1 one hole in the air. As soon as they went to the maneuver, both holes into the water.
Yeah, minimizing maneuvers is the key, but if you can get a maneuver in a place with good wind as well, that's really going to give you a big gain. I think, interestingly, we can see on our leaderboard, left-hand side of screen, Todd, Italy and Brazil, new teams to the league, 10th and 11th. I think the other thing people should remember is this is actually the first day for those teams using the big 29-meter wing. They've had a decent amount of training, 10th day in the boat for Marcini Grail, driving that Brazilian boat. And of course, this is, you know, it's going to be a bit of a sharpen up, a bit of a wakener in this light winds and 11 boats on the start line, but also this new wing. There's a lot for them to learn, but they'll be learning quickly. We've got no doubt about that. And it's, can they now turn this position into gaining a few places through the race?
On board with Mubadala Brazil, Marcini Grail, the two-time Olympic gold medalist, two-time world champion, 2014 Sailor of the Year, as we welcome her and her squad to SailGP in Season 5.
Lisa, does it seem pretty even on the split between the United States and the Kiwis there, turning left and right? Is there any obvious place that you'd want the boats to be on the water?
I actually think the decision where the Kiwis went, that at that moment of time was more breeze. They were able to hold that H1 for longer. What was interesting, though, is watching Australia and USA come across. They both sort of manoeuvred at the same time, but Australia had a really nice mode in that H1 mode. So although we'd like to see them up and foiling, there's a lot of technique in terms of how high you fly that hull out of the water to reduce drag and use that wing power sail. The only thing is, as we approach this gate, if New Zealand get that left turn, then they are going to go back into more pressure and likely to pop up on the foils like they did last time.
And it looks like the U.S. are going to bear off to the right-hand side as they make the turn at gate number 3, the DP World Gate. The Americans in the lead with the Australians in second, New Zealand in third. This is race 1 of 3 on day 1 here at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas.
Interesting choice from Taylor and the US SailGP team there. They've chosen to take the right turn. What that does mean is it means that Australia will definitely follow. So yeah, the interesting thing we're going to see here really is, as Lisa quite rightly said, New Zealand will now get to turn left. All these plans they make have a long-term effect. So will this mean they can do the downwind leg with just one more manoeuvre for the US team? They obviously like what they saw on that side of the course, but it's going to be New Zealand that has the best chance to attack the United States team, as they're going to turn left and not be following the United States on this downwind leg.
Stevie, as we watch the US SailGP team with Taylor Canfield at the helm, it's an interesting story because this really is just their second season in the league, as they brought in a whole new set of crew members and Mike Buckley and that team that came in, and so now they're kind of getting up to speed, and I think the confidence is starting to show.
I think so. I mean, I do think these conditions suit, and we'll see. You know, a season's a season, because, you know, we make sure we have a lot of events in this championship to even out the playing field. These are very specific conditions here. They suited this US team before. As we see the chasing down time there, Rolex chasing down time is showing that the US team is slowly eking out their lead. Again, they're a little bit ahead. They're going that little bit quicker. I think Slingsby might be trying to foil here. Let's listen in.
I'm just going to get neutral.
Okay, doesn't think he can quite foil. He's talking about the load he's putting through the rudders on either side of the boat. They have a lot of downforce potential right underneath where Tom sat, but obviously if there's not much wind, you don't want to be giving that upwind hull, the downforce, even if it will accelerate the boat, it could crush you. US first to maneuver away on the boundary.
Jason Waterhouse, Tash Bryant make the change across the side. It's a different story crossing over there, Stevie, when you're going this slow as opposed to when you're going 60 to 80 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, I think the term most sailors would use is you've got to move like a mouse in carpet slippers on a day like this. You've got to be so gentle around the boat. We see the US maneuver, Australia maneuver, right-hand side of screen though, New Zealand. Look at them on our ladder lines. They're showing us gaining at the moment. They have a hull up in the air. United States will be accelerating here. They will be starting to get that boat back up to speed, but they're going to go through a lot of turbulent wind from the fleet. Has Burling found the magic bullet on this side of the course? Will he be able to make it down towards the finish line with just one more maneuver? This crucial moments in the race here as the black foils turn the boat. They'll be looking to accelerate as quickly as possible out of here. There we go, slow maneuver as they lose their speed. They need to build the speed. As they build speed, their wind will build as well. United States look good at the moment. They've got themselves up and going, but it is a gain to New Zealand at the moment. Can they get across the Australians? United States and Australia have the right of way in this situation. If they come together, New Zealand are going to need to avoid.
Come down so you can check this breeze better. Copy.
Definite gain here, Todd, to New Zealand. Can the Kiwis accelerate their boat? They've passed the Australians. United States look like they're in a good position at the moment, but it's going to be so tight. I don't see that Canfield can pull off a blocking manoeuvre unless he turns the boat soon. And if he does that, that's going to mean a lot of extra manoeuvres. What does the Rolex chasing time tell us? Still looks good at the moment to United States, making a small gain.
So US SailGP in control of this first race of 3 here in Dubai on the opening day. New Zealand is now moving into second place. Switzerland has overtaken Australia for third. The Aussies drop back to fourth with Denmark. And Nikolai Sehested, Rockwell Racing, currently sitting in fifth.
Looks like a decent patch of breeze just in front of the Kiwi boat there. Slight darkness to the water there. That's our indication as a sailor of where more wind is. Lisa, can you see any extra breeze? Who's going to make the gain? These two boats split on this final downwind leg.
Best pressure here right now, Tay.
I actually really like where New Zealand's heading right now. I think that they're going to get a puff of pressure in about 20 seconds. I think the only difference is that the USA team will just have to do one maneuver, where the New Zealand team will likely have to do 2, and that will be pretty painful.
Yeah, we talked about the maneuvers really slowing you down. So there you see Taylor Canfield come up that yellow line, Stevie, the lay line. They pretty much can take it straight into the gate, and then the finish line is so close.
That's right. They've just got to come down towards this last gate, and then they're going to take a left turn down there. Hull comes up on the Kiwi boat. The Kiwi boat is about to really accelerate now. This will be a huge moment for New Zealand. If it was to shift, they could potentially get down there with no more turns. Here we go. This is it. The right of way will be with New Zealand, but the speed should be the advantage towards United States. 2 more maneuvers for New Zealand. They've got to go 1 turn, left turn on Mark 4, and they'll head to the finish, but New Zealand will have the right of way here. It's advantage New Zealand. Can the United States accelerate their boat? Jeremy Wilmot, big few seconds in front of him here.
So this will be the moment of the first race. It's the US SailGP team and the Kiwis going head-to-head, almost dead even on the course. But the Kiwis have one more maneuver to make as they've got to get around mark number 4. The US, it's a straight shot and then to the finish line.
Yes, advantage to Canfield at the moment here, but he's got to watch out for the New Zealand boat. The Kiwis have to turn on that mark. They're not allowed to sail straight in New Zealand. Look at that on the front of the boat, holding on to that forward sail, the jib sail, trying to trim it perfectly. It's not exactly how the designers intended it, but the sailors out there, of course, trying to maximise everything. Yeah, this is great news for the United States SailGP team. They should be about to start the 2025 season with a victory from here.
This could break a huge drought, Stevie. You got to go back to Cadiz last year when the U.S. won. They haven't won since then, so this would be a huge, monumental win for US SailGP if they can open up this 2025 season campaign with a win in race number 1.
Well, you always like a new paint job to give you a bit of a win, don't you, Todd? And that boat looks pretty spectacular, and there's nothing more spectacular than winning the first race of the season. Nice job, guys. Taylor Canfield, he's called it early. Yeah. I think he's probably right to do so.
Nice work, Tay.
as they approach the finish here in Dubai. It looks like the USA with the perfect calculations, as Lisa Darmanin pointed out, get to the front of the pack, stay away from everyone else. You don't have to get your elbows out, and that's what the US did. They found open space, they found the breeze necessary, but it all goes back to that mark number 1 with the lead as they now approach the finish line, and it's pretty much a done deal, done and dusted, as they say in Dubai, as US SailGP will start off the 2025 season with a victory and the Emirates winning moment.
Yeah, well, that comes down to the start entirely, Todd. We'll listen in and see if we can hear any congratulations for their Emirates winning moment. Pretty calm on board. I think I'd probably like to see a little bit more excitement than that. It's a calculated win. They're obviously very happy with that great performance.
Like 2-3 or something.
That's 2 more races, though, to go, so they're going to maybe save it and look for a sweep. Remember, 10 points for the win, 9 for second, 8 for third, all the way down. If you finish outside the 10, remember there's 12 teams this year, but only 11 racing today, you do not get any points if you finish 11th and 12th.
Yeah, nil point is not going to be what people are shooting for out there. Burling and Duke on board that New Zealand boat. They'll be pretty happy with that. Liv Mackay, the strategist, on board. There's a lot of continuity to the team. Leo Takahashi, though, first race with the team. He's going to be happy to get a good performance, that is for sure. We're about to be 10 seconds from the finish of the race time here, and anyone that hasn't made a turning mark in that thing will go all the way back to the next gate, the cut-off time. So Switzerland will get a third-place finish, but it's going to be so tight for Denmark. We'll have to remember where people were at the top gate. It might not be such bad news for Australia. Disastrous last win leg for Slingsby. Going to find out where they were at the last gate. We'll find out from that when we come back.
So race number 1 is in the books. It's US SailGP that gets the first win of the 2025 season. So now it's the count back now, Stevie, and to your point, Australia, I think, was in second place at the last gate before they dropped back, and the USA, though, clearly the winners of race number 1 in light breeze. We mentioned their last win coming last season in Cadiz, and they really just seem to excel in this light breeze.
Yeah, we'll have to see how many boats got round that mark before the time limit happened, but we're going to go and we'll go and see Emily, and she's going to analyse the racing for us.
So it was quite an exciting start there with all the boats right up on the line at the gun. The closest by far was the Italian team, who were only 20 centimetres behind the line when the gun went. But it was USA who had the fastest trigger pull. That's the first boat to get up to speed and get accelerating. They were 17 kilometres an hour at the gun and then sailed 485 metres to the first mark, significantly less distance than anyone else, setting them up for a really good race. Clear breeze to get round the course in the lead. Now, obviously, we had quite the battle in second and third between New Zealand and Australia. The first defining moment was that bottom gate where the two teams split to opposite sides. And for a while, it looked like a disastrous choice by the New Zealand team. They lost a lot of distance on the USA and Australians, who went for that further offshore side of the course. Both of those teams had a really good wind shift, allowing them to make it almost straight up to the gate. The Kiwis crossed miles behind Australia, but by splitting again at gate number 3, they made their move. Downwind split was a huge gain for the Kiwi team, who were able to get a good gust, cross ahead of the Australians, and finish behind the US team.
Well, what a race, Emily, and once again, you pointed out, it all comes down to that start. The USA put themselves in a prime position, but as we like to say, the numbers don't lie.
Exactly, and if we take a look here at our data from the Oracle Cloud, we can compare the Australians versus New Zealand, you know, that battle in second and third. And what's really clear is that while the Australians, their jibes were quite good, but their starts were very similar. The Kiwis had a better upwind performance, and overall, that difference in their downwind performance made all of the difference, got that overtake when it counted.
All right, thank you very much, Emily. So the teams now go through a short debrief process, Stevie. What's going to be said, knowing obviously going to looking for more wind, and hopefully they're going to find it?
Well, I imagine there'll be a lot of analysis as to how people are using the basic setup with the big wings, and there'll be some learning to be done there. And then, yeah, you know, it's just reset, go again. They've all got the skills.
And we're now able to go on board with US SailGP and their driver, Taylor Canfield. Taylor, congratulations. What a way to start out the new season. The light breeze was a little bit tricky. Did it all come down to the start and hitting that line just at the right time?
Yeah, we're happy to take the win in the season opener for sure. It's we've been practicing our setup on the start all week, and then kind of just refining it for the last couple of days, and that seemed to pay off there for sure.
Taylor, you've got that huge 29-meter wing up. How hard is it for the trimmer Jeremy Wilmot to really maximise the performance? You sounded pretty calm on board, but looks pretty hard to be going fast out there.
Yeah, for sure. It's a real balance of trying to figure out the modes, and actually Jeremy's first day with the 29-meter wing, so he did a great job managing that, and yeah, we're still learning, but yeah, good enough to get the win there.
Taylor, you might have the most data of anyone out there other than Lisa Darmanin, so what are you guys hearing about the conditions for races 2 and 3? What do you expect?
Yeah, it's a little lighter than anticipated, I think, and I don't see too much more coming at the moment. We just got the call that we're going to go another body down in the boat, so again, that changes the playbook a little bit, so we're going to get right back into it and start to warm up, and only 4 minutes to start here already, so we're right into it.
Taylor, appreciate the time. Good luck to you and the rest of the squad.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Taylor Canfield, driver for US SailGP team. So breaking news there, Stevie. They're going from 5 now down to 4.
Yeah, big moment really there, and I think, US, what a start to proceedings really, but it will, as he said, change the playbooks. There's different roles, more roles. There's 6 jobs on the boat, there's only 4 people on to do them now.
All right, so it is official now because the race was terminated at 16 minutes. Here's how it shakes down. The USA does, in fact, get the win. New Zealand second, Australia finishing in 3rd place. Then it was Switzerland, Emirates GBR, Rockwool, Denmark, Germany, Spain, Canada, Red Bull Italy finishes in 10th, and unfortunately from Mubadala Brazil, they finished in 11th. Outside the top 10, Stevie, no points.
Well, yeah, I mean, what a save for Australia. I think you'd have to say the Australians got a bit lucky with the timing there. Seconds in it as to whether the Swiss got to that scoring point on the race course, and they really saved themselves. So, yeah, a little bit of luck for Australia early on there, but a brilliant start for Canfield and co.
We take a look at some of the slow-mo shots from race number 1. It was a slower race than anticipated. Taylor said it was a little lighter breeze than what they expected, Stevie, but man, it was some great close quarters racing, and you cannot get over from start to mark number 1 seeing 11 boats going at it.
Well, like a lot of sport, racing's racing, and it was so tight coming into those first few downwind legs. Any fraction of error would have made a massive difference to your race. The start's crucial. It's still a race, Todd. It's totally fair. Same game for everyone out there. People will have learned their lessons, but we all knew before the race how crucial the start would be. The question now, I suppose, really is, what did the United States do so well? Their positioning was towards the favoured end of the line, and they just found a little bit of space in the final 20 seconds. Great Britain crew, Dylan Fletcher, Nick Hutton there, this, New Zealand crew, they've all done it before. They know what to do, but can you turn it around and execute it when the pressure's on?
So it's USA, New Zealand, Australia, Switzerland, and GBR, the top 5 from race 1. And the fleet now gets themselves into position to enter the start box. Remember, they'll get in there about 2 minutes before the start of the race. 16 minutes is the race length, so it could be a little bit slow, but we will find out if the teams can get it done. The USA certainly did enough to get that win, and we are set for them to go. Brazil gets ready to go for their 2nd race of this season.
My name is Martina Guerrero, and I'm sailing for Mubadala Brazil SailGP team. I started sailing very young after my brother, and then when I was age 17, I went into Olympic sailing, so I guess that's when it became professional in my life. After 4 Olympic campaigns and 2 medals, I was looking into what could possibly be next, and I've watched all the races from SailGP, they're really interesting. And when this opportunity came, it seemed like it was the best direction I could possibly take, so there's nothing like this race.
Back in September, Alan approached me to join, the first Brazilian team in the league. We went back and forth a few times, had some really good chats with Pete and Blair and the Black Foils team. The timing of this was right for me.
I've been windsurfing 40 for a long time, since 2016. In 2020, I started my Olympic campaign towards Paris 2024, and I managed to qualify Brazil and qualify myself. It was a really long journey and really nice, super interesting. The period I was resting before the games in Brazil, I just got a call. Martin talked about you. My heart felt warm. I was like, I can't believe this is going on. And before he even finished the sentence, I was like, yes. I didn't look at my calendar. I didn't ask any. I was just like, yes, that's it. I want to be part of it. And now we're here in Dubai for the first race.
Martini Grail, she's going to lead the fleet around.
Sailing with Martine, it's a real privilege to try and help her on this journey in SailGP. For me, that's really motivating and a challenge that I'm really excited for.
She's super talented, really hard worker. She has everything what it takes to win a SailGP.
Welcome to Martini.
She definitely deserves to be here and to deserve to be driving a boat.
In this very beginning, the goal is to bond together.
The vibe we have in our team is great. Everyone's super happy, super excited to be here.
Everyone in the team is super determined to win, but we've got to be real and we've got to take a step back and understand that we are a new team.
This is a whole different monster. It's an incredible experience.
I know sailing is a game of experience, and we're trying to get that.
Mubadala Brazil becomes the first South American team to join the Rolex SailGP Championship, and with a double Olympic champion, Martini Grail, and an impressive crew alongside her, we're hoping they'll do great things here in their first outing out on the water. So amazing job there in race number 1. Earlier, Lisa Darmanin caught up with their skipper.
Martine, welcome to SailGP. First race done. It's pretty light and difficult out here though.
Yeah, I think it can only get better from here.
I guess you guys had some technical issues before the race, and you haven't sailed with this 29-meter wing either.
No, for sure. There's a lot of surprises for the first day, especially with this issue. It's quite disturbing on the boat, and just for the whole structure of the, daggerboard case. So it's definitely a distraction.
And I guess maybe talk us about your training up until this moment. You haven't had that many days on the F50, but how are you finding steering this vessel?
I mean, light winds is pretty, straight on sailing. I guess when we start getting the venues with more breeze, it's going to get pretty full on. For now, we're just struggling with our timings. But, as I said, it can only get better from here.
Well, good luck for the next race. We'll let you reset. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Stevie Morrison, this might be the epitome of the steep learning curve. As Lisa was talking with Martini Grail, you heard all the things going on in the background. The hydraulics moved around like that. Now they drop down to a 4-person on-crew situation. But saying that, look at the talent she's got next to her.
Well, it's a really strong lineup. Olympians, world golds, world silvers, world bronzes, Olympic golds, and it's just so much talent on board. But yeah, the nature of this is it's short, sharp racing. There's very, very technical boats that do require a lot of work on it, and I think that will be a challenge for Martini to keep that focus, to not be distracted by all the noise around, because you do all that action between races is about getting yourself here. 2 minutes to go until the start, and the boats are lined up, they're in position, but they'll need to be thinking about that ever since the end of the last race, and that's a skill in itself.
All right, you got to have a short memory in SailGP because we move right on to the second race. We'll remind you the USA won race number 1, followed by New Zealand and Australia and Switzerland, the top 4. Stevie, forget all about that, except try to do exactly what you did in that first race if you're US SailGP, because they had a brilliant start.
They did have a fantastic start. They just hit the line fast and they had a little bit of space around them. Brazil were a little bit out the back that time. I'm sure they'll have learnt a lesson there. And as you say, plenty of experience on board. But there's less people on the boat this time. So can they find the space? They're quite nicely positioned at the moment. The trouble with starting towards the top end of the line is if you don't get that jump of acceleration, you're on the outside of the first bend. And we know any motorsport racing, you want to be on the inside of the curve. And that's why we're seeing the blue position there at the top of, towards the top of our screen on the start line there. That's the favoured place to be. It's going to put you on the inside at turn 1.
And 1 minute away from the start of race number 2, still a third race scheduled for today. Yesterday during practice racing, Stevie, we saw a lot of people come to the left side of the screen here and come in with speed. The problem is they don't have that wind power. And of course, SailGP, powered by Mother Nature, they don't have that acceleration today.
Yeah, if you're starting somewhere near Spain, they're shown as being in the favoured position there. That star at the top there, that's our pole position predictor right now, but they've got to be able to execute that, and with the angle they're sat at, they're going to struggle to accelerate. 36 seconds to go. New Zealand, middle of the line, they've just slam the door on the United States SailGP team there. Burling taking no prisoners in the middle of the line. 26 seconds to go. Looks like they're in a good position on board that New Zealand boat at the moment. Canada will be able to wind it up and accelerate here. Brazil need to be careful they're not shut out. It's a question. Can the Spanish accelerate? How's the timing on board that German boat at the bottom end of the line? It's all about watching for the line to turn white. There's no room in here for Brazil if they're not careful. Here we go. Turn the boat down on board Canada. Turn the boat down on Brazil, and it's timing. How is it for there, Giles? Scott, great start by the Canadians. Great start by the Brazilians. Germany on the inside at the bottom of the line, but I love the speed on this Canadian boat. North Star Canada in prime position to hopefully lead the fleet down to mark number 1.
So it's Giles, Scott, and the Canadians that play the game almost picture perfect. As they were concerned about the Brazilians on the right-hand side, the rest of the fleet kind of caught up. So now you have the Swiss on the inside. Good run there from Sebastian Schneider, but it looks like it's North Star Canada and Brazil joining the Swiss 3 abroad as they go to mark number 1.
It's so tense on board these boats. Look at the Australians at the back there. There's just no wind. They're just in the turbulent, disturbed wind from the whole fleet. You can see the wing just wallowing around, no load on the sheet. It's going to be a long race to mark 1 for them. They need to reset and start chasing again. Interesting, mark 1, Canada is struggling to make it very easily. Germany is still quite nicely positioned to be on the inside out of mark 1 here. So it's going to be tight. Germany, Switzerland, Canada. It'd be hard to call who's winning out of that. But North Star Canada very much in this race. Paul Campbell-James, the wing trimmer on the boat. He loves these light conditions. He's actually, he's got a pilot's license. So that huge 29-meter wing to him, well, that's just bread and butter. We're on board the Brazilian boat. They're right in this race here. But you can see just hanging on the inside is Germany. Switzerland still barely keeping their wind clear from the Canadians, and it's going to be really, really tight. As we can see, race 1 winners USA in the middle of the pack.
250 metres, so just all about us and the Canadians here, just matching off to make sure they don't lap us winning.
It's the voice of Lee McMillan there, the wing trimmer on Brazil. Of course, it's quite hard to see the other boats when you're on the opposite side of the boat. Communication's the key here, and it is a gentle, light wind drag race towards this boundary. When they get inside the boundary zone, Brazil will get themselves the right of way to manoeuvre, but Canada in pole position relative to them, and Germany lead the fleet at the moment.
I think we're pretty much a boundary now. Catching, we've got a long way to go. Well, 50 metres.
So talking about the boundaries, it's coming up quickly, and we'll see who the first is to blink. It looks like Switzerland has seen enough of this course right now. Sebastian Schneider decides to turn away. The Spanish turn away, as do the Germans. And there goes North Star Canada with Brazil right behind him.
I quite like where the Spanish have moved as well. At the top of middle of our screen at the moment, they've turned directly around mark 1, followed by Australia. So they're going to do extra manoeuvres, but potentially getting clear wind. Schneider's manoeuvre was well placed. Canada just about hanging on, and all the teams now desperately willing the next gust of wind to come their way. Lisa, can you see where that next gust of wind might come from?
It's so patchy, Stevie. It's really, really difficult. For example, Emirates, Great Britain, they were pretty much last at that start, and they just got this magic path. So anything can really happen here. I think from where I'm looking, I really like the Germans. They manoeuvred early. They'll lead back in towards the gate. They're in pretty clear air here. I don't think the teams like, I think it's Spain, Australia, I don't think they're going to find any extra pressure over where they are, but they might make a jump on the rest of the pack over on this other side. So where Denmark, New Zealand, etc.
So Lisa will keep her eyes on the patchy conditions out there. Stevie, what you did in race number 1 has no bearing on what happens in race number 2. You look at the teams that fared well in race number 1, they are in the bottom 5. And look at Germany, Canada, and Brazil, who are at the bottom of race number 1, and they are leading.
Well, nothing holds relevance other than, I think if I was Germany, I'd be pretty keen to go straight and take a left turn at the bottom here, minimise the manoeuvre. So I think a lot of the lessons we saw from the United States in how to execute that leading position, Germany will probably go with.
Still got full flow.
This is the voice of Stuart Biffle. He's the wing trimmer on the German boat. So let's see if we can hear their plan.
Huge rowdy, I think so.
Talking about the wind having rotated to the right, that'll only help them here in this situation. They'll be looking to take a left turn and moving out.
Yeah, I think we might not have it though. It's the only thing.
CJ, will Paul Campbell James. He wants a left turn. Giles there, he's saying, I don't know if I can make it. They all desperately want to try and minimise manoeuvres here as we see the fleet in behind them. Once again, wiggling themselves out of nowhere. Emirates Great Britain, look, left-hand side of our screen, up with one hull up in the air. They've halved the drag on that British boat. So has Rockwool Denmark, and they're going to be coming in fast. But Denmark, they're about to sail into the disturbed wind from United States. Great Britain in good form here, but can they find a way to thread the needle at the bottom of the course?
There is space to
It's all very well making a gain, but it's how do you overtake?
They're tight on leg for the right turn, and I think we want left turn probably.
You hear the voice of...
Voice of Hannah Mills, the
and
strategist.
Dylan Fletcher, yeah.
On that British boat. There's a lot of talent there. There's 3 gold medals between them trying to problem solve what they've got to deal with. Canada did manage to make it to the left turn. Paul Campbell James will be happy. And that Canadian boat now will be able to start working upwind, but out of nowhere once again. How many times last year did we call this Kiwi boat Harry Houdini?
Yeah.
I mean, they were right at the back of the pack, and Burling's managed to get control of the right turn here. Look how many boats they've overtaken on this downwind leg, that New Zealand boat.
And if I'm not mistaken, Stevie, this is the same game plan he did in race number 1, going off to the right-hand side where everyone else went left.
Yeah, he loves to lead out of a mark, Todd. If you lead out of a mark, you've at least got your wind clear and you're somewhat in control of your own destiny from a speed perspective. That's easy for you to say. Perspective. So he's trying to make sure he's got control of his speed. The whole fleet, look, following in here. Imagine that Australia will turn left. It's going to be hard for Spain not to do that. But Burling, yeah, he controls that mark. He's up to 3rd or 4th from nowhere, and it's all about where the wind is. Lisa said she liked where the Germans and the Canadians were going. I think Germany are going to boost away right now. But yeah, what a comeback from the Kiwis so early on.
I think we can do that, Jer. I think you've got it. You're going to be button hooked here. Okay. Yeah, you got it. Do whatever you want. Yeah, copy.
Taylor Canfield talking to Jeremy Wilmot there as they get around the side. They've got Emirates GBR, Dylan Fletcher, and Hannah Mills off to their left-hand side. Here comes Rockwell Racing. The Danes coming in right behind that pairing. So it's Germany out in front here on leg 3 of 5. Canada, Switzerland, New Zealand, Australia, as USA drops down 1 position behind Spain on course. Let's not forget these races 16 minutes long. So, Stevie, we could get another situation like we saw in race number 1 where the race is terminated.
Yeah, we absolutely could. That's something we'll need to keep an eye on as the race goes on. And we might need to keep an eye on our language there. I thought the Brits and the Americans speak the same language, but I never heard the term button hooked before.
Oh, sure.
From Jeremy Wilmot. It looked like they'd maybe got a smooth rounding, but yeah, all of us learning on the first D here of the 2025 season championship as we see Germany. Look at that. They got 12 kilometres an hour of wind. Their boat speed's up at 18. No surprise there. Burling once again has got more boat speed out of that New Zealand boat, but he's back in the well behind those first 2 boats. So New Zealand will be relatively happy at the moment. Looks like New Zealand are sailing towards good breeze, Lisa.
I'm on 5 red already.
Yeah, they definitely are. So they had to be quite patient for about 20 seconds out of that turn, and then, as you saw, they were able to get that hull up in the air. So the wind out here, it's really thin. So what I mean by that is the gusts of pressure rather than moving. Of course, there's just sort of lines of it, and they've really done a nice job to be able to link 2 of them together, and they've popped into H1 again after their manoeuvre.
Let it down, and I need you soon, James.
Eric Heil and the Germans in control of race number 2. We're scheduled for a 3rd and final race as you see the skyline of Dubai in the distance. The rumor is in this part of the world that the breeze fills in the afternoon, Stevie, so that's why we have the 20-minute delay at the start of the show, and we're hoping that breeze will fill in. Would be a great way to finish off with the 3rd race with a little more breeze.
Yeah, well, you know, SailGP, powered by nature. Unfortunately, that's one thing we can't control is Mother Nature, but what we do have with these huge 29-metre wings is the ability to get some really tight tactical racing happening even when the wind is quite light, and for me, this is, from a sailor's perspective, so interesting.
I think pressure-wise, I'm happy with the left, and I think best pressure middle of the course coming through the gate now.
So that is the new driver for North Star Canada, Giles Scott, 2-time Olympic gold medalist in the Finn class, taking over the wheel for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, and of course Giles has got a Canadian passport. You know, he started his sailing career in Canada, probably more well known for his work with the British sailing team over time, but he did start sailing in Canada, Canadian passport holder for, I think, for North Star Canada. It's a really great signing, and it's showing out here. But it was interesting as well, we heard earlier, Eric Kyle was like, where is everyone? I can't see them. You're winning, mate. That's why you can't see them. They're all behind you, Eric.
No pressure yet. Just get down.
Only in their 2nd season, the Germans here in SailGP.
You go.
Showing a lot of promise, especially in their first season, Stevie. We thought they might be in the back of the fleet a lot of times, and they had flashes of top 5 finishes. So the talent is there.
Yeah, I think one thing I've always noticed with that German team is they're very good at problem solving the start. And I think they really learned a great lesson from what happened in race 1. And they almost executed the exact start that the US SailGP team did in the first race. Germany managed to see that, adapt it, and then make it happen. They've manoeuvred early here. I'm not sure if they'll get down to this final turning mark without doing some more manoeuvres. You can see how light it is there. Paul Campbell-James, the wing trimmer on the right-hand side, and he's looking up as much technology as we've got in SailGP. He's actually looking at little woolly cotton bits of cotton wool on the sail that indicate is the air flowing around.
Coming in now. Down.
Okay, so the Germans look like they're struggling to get to this turning mark. They're going to have one more manoeuvre. It's actually a right turn to the finish now for this race, so that gives the fans at the other end of the watching zone a view of the fleet as they come in. So Germany, nicely positioned. Look, top of screen there. United States, up in the air. That means they'll be going fast. They'll be making some gains, and they need to make some gains in this race, but great news for US fans.
So Germany finished with a 7th in race number 1. Can they turn that around here? There you see the USA at the top of your screen. They are in a top 6 position right now. Canada in 2nd. New Zealand, once again, the Harry Houdini of the Southern Hemisphere. Peter Burling has found a top 3 position.
Yeah, he's pretty good at wiggling his way out of a problem here, isn't he? Canada have got a hull up in there. North Star Canada up with one hull in the air. They will be making gains. Whoop, don't let it go too far, Giles. Woohoo! Absolutely maximise that heel to try and get the drag out of the situation there. Canada look like they're going nicely, but Germany well positioned here. I think Eric Heil could look to give that German boat a race victory, which would be some tonic at the start of this season. But yeah, looming in the background, the black foils, they tend to know how to find their way out of a problem, and Burling once again has got the boat moving through the fleet really, really nicely here.
On board with the German boat, Stevie, I'm checking the facts as we get ready for the Emirates winning moment. This may be the first win for the Germans in the history of SailGP, because if I'm not mistaken, they weren't with us for Sail Season 3. They came on in 4.
Yeah. I thought they'd had a race win back in LA in Season 1, but I might, in Season 4, sorry, but I might be right. We'll get our statistician looking into that one. Whatever matters is it's all about now, and in the now, this is a huge moment for the German SailGP team, and they sound pretty calm on board.
Canada H2 also.
It's all about consistency at SailGP, especially in the light breezes. You can have a bad finish. You can finish outside the top 8 or 9, but you can't have 2 of them. So with Germany finishing 7th in race number 1 and a 1 in race number 2, they are poised now on 8 points. The USA will look to close this thing down and hopefully get themselves in a top 6 position to go with their win in race number 1. And we'll break it all down for you momentarily, and we'll have Emily crunching the numbers to see how the Germans got it done. But again, Stevie, I think the common theme will be, if you start well, you will finish well.
Yeah, and Todd, you know what? I think actually your statistical brain was the brain we needed. I'm pretty sure the Emirates winning moment there was the first one for this German SailGP team. And we heard Stuart Biffle say that great start, northern twang, English northern twang. But he said great start, and it was brilliant work. But also brilliant work by these next few boats. Solid results when we think about putting a whole series together. Of course, it's about getting to the final on Sunday afternoon, Todd.
Just about 3 minutes to go until the race is terminated. So Germany is in safely. Canada will come in 2nd place. So a turning of the tables. Remember, Canada finished 9th in race number 1. So good for them. The North Star Canada team is in safely, and we will see who else can cross the line in under 3 minutes' time to secure their position. Otherwise, we go back to the last gate to see where everyone is. Looks like Burling's going to come in 3rd place, so the Kiwis will have a 2nd and a 3rd.
Consistency's king. Yeah, Todd. That'll put them right at the top of the leaderboard right now, I'd have thought. You know, with such consistent placing.
How about the Swiss back-to-back 4ths?
And Australia going to be a 3 and a 4. So there's a few boats already showing a bit of consistency out here as we see the US SailGP team come into picture there. A couple more manoeuvres to do for them, but they're looking like potentially getting a decent 2nd race as well.
Now the Swiss right behind the Kiwis, so they'll come in. Looks like Tom Slingsby, who was at the back of the pack. Remember, we saw on board with them. They were dead last at the start, and here they are coming across. They'll get a good finish again. It looks like it'll be 5th for them, so a 3rd and a 5th for Tom Slingsby, the 3-time champions in SailGP.
It's really, you need to get
well, it's a really nice, you know, Chris Draper, the wing trimmer on board. There's a bit of bit of language, unfortunately. They have to apologise for that. People getting a little bit tense as they come in these light winds. But yeah, for Slingsby, I think it'll be nice and consistent performance, and really, I think, a nice settler for the new crew.
And the USA is just going to miss out on a position here as Spain, champions of last season. They come around the Americans and they look like they might just get in before we are terminating this race.
Yeah, I mean, the US had the right of way there, but Botin expertly just gave enough room to let them in, but keep the speed on his own Spanish boat. As we see a tight moment there, Rockwool Denmark, they've got to give room to Emirates Great Britain. Rockwool Denmark have a lot more speed, both boats with 2 more manoeuvres to do here. It's going to be so tight. Still right of way with Emirates Great Britain is how it should sit at the moment, so Rockwool's going to have to go very, very wide here. Owning the inside of the turn is Emirates Great Britain, but Denmark, they keep the speed on, and they're going to try and go round the outside. Let's keep watching. This is so tight. It's low speed, but it's so tactical. Great tactical racing by Seherstedt there. He knew he had to give Emirates Great Britain room. He's done a nice job of that. Emirates Great Britain own the mark at the moment. Who can accelerate quickly? Can Rockwool Denmark stay clear? He's got to stay clear at the moment, and then as soon as he overlaps, you go. Emirates now keeping clear. Now it's right of way Rockwool Denmark, but who can accelerate? Oh, Dylan had to keep clear as soon as they'd left that mark rounding. It was right of way Rockwool Denmark and Nikolai Seherstedt. What tactical racing by the Danish there. Brilliant work. Kept the speed on the boat, knew exactly where the right of way stood, and now it's can Emirates Great Britain accelerate before Tita and his Italian crew chase them down.
It looks like GBR is going to hold on for 9th place, with the Italians taking 10th for the 2nd race in a row, and the Brazilians finishing on the outside in 11th. Well, what a race. Once again, comes down to an amazing start, and the Germans executed the best start. Stevie, they got themselves out in front, as Lisa liked to say. They don't like to put their elbows out, get away from everyone else.
Penalty Denmark, relative GBR, not giving room at the mark. You'll have 5 seconds, finish 5 seconds after GBR.
Oh, so a change on the standings courtesy of Chief Judge Craig Mitchell. So GBR will pick up the 8th position. Denmark will drop back to the 9th position. But one thing we do know for sure is Germany gets the win in race number 2 here at the Rolex SailGP Championship and the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. Let's go on board, Stevie. We always love this. Here it is once more. This was the crunch, and this was the battle for 8th place.
Yeah, the mark that's just disappearing from the right-hand side of our screen there is crucial. As soon as Emirates Great Britain break away from that mark, they would have to keep clear of Rockwool Denmark, but it was deemed that they were keeping clear of Rockwool Denmark before they left the mark. I mean, millimetres in it. It's all about, is that Rockwool Denmark hull coming too close to the back of the British boat and then alongside it? If Seherstedt does that too early, then it was still right of way Emirates Great Britain. I mean, that was millimetres, but SailGP Productions chief umpire Craig Mitchell, he gets all the facts.
And we now go on board with the German squad who win the 2nd race here, the 1st event of the 2025 season. Eric Heil and company. Eric, congratulations. Once again, light breezes out there. Where did you guys find that position, and was that the plan going in to the spot you took?
Sorry guys, I have so much comms on the ear right now, but yeah, I mean, it's great. I think today is a day where you really can win or lose at the same time. Our start strategy was good. I think we had a good opportunity to go down at the line, and for us, I think it's a good risk and chance balance.
And Eric, did you was that something you learned from watching the first race, or was that the plan you'd hoped to be able to do in race 1?
Same plan, both races, but yeah, execution is always a topic, right?
So, Eric, what do you anticipate for this 3rd and final race of the day, and are you hearing any reports of possible more breeze?
Yeah, I mean, we're waiting for that quite long now. Expected a little more breeze from the beginning on, but yeah, it fills in on the left side at least, so hopefully we get some foiling.
Eric, appreciate your time, and we wish you the best of luck in race 3.
Thank you, guys.
Eric Heil in Germany, they win race number 2, just ahead of Canada, New Zealand, Switzerland, and Australia, the top 5. Emily, what a race it was. It wasn't fast, but it was very technical.
And the battle was all on at the start. You could see here Brazil and Canada aiming for the bottom of the line, what looks like open space, but you've got the Kiwis there quickly closing that gap. And it was a bit of a gamble for the Canadians and Brazilians whether they would make it. But with the slow speed of everyone, it left plenty of opportunity. But brilliant moment by the Germans here who won that optimum position. They have that Rolex pole position predictor there and followed through. They were first around Mark 1, but what's really critical about that was it opened up their opportunity to decide where they were going to go downwind, while Canada, meanwhile, blocked Brazil out, took them all the way to the boundary, and by the time that both of those teams had jived over, there were plenty of boats around to cover them. So it was really strong opportunity for Germany to stretch their lead there, while the battle in the back of the pack continued. Coming into that bottom gate, traffic from both directions. Now, it might not have been crazy high speed, but New Zealand managed to sneak around the edge once again, getting that puff and allowing themselves to split sides of the course and look for opportunity elsewhere.
And Emily, let's talk about the numbers, because once again, it's simple math. Fewer maneuvers, and you're going to probably be at the front of the pack.
Exactly, but it was also the modes that these teams were trying to sail around the course. We saw from Germany's numbers that their average speed was actually lower than Canada's, but they did manage to sail less distance, which is really critical in these conditions. It's this top-up of, do we try sail faster, go H1, or do we keep both hulls in the water, soak down to the marks, sail less distance, win the race?
So let's take a look at the race-by-race standings. We've got 2 races in, 1 more still to go. And I'll tell you what, it's consistency is the key, Stevie. And once again, it's Pete Burling being consistent. Look at that, a 2 and a 3. The Germans 7-1, they're in the running as well. Switzerland's got a good run as well. Australia, USA, your top 5.
Yeah, amazing consistency from New Zealand, but it's all about the start. If New Zealand get a start, how good could they be?
So we'll see how it all plays out in the 3rd and final race. These beautiful slow motion shots, moments where they did have the pole flying in the air, and still the cross is a little bit treacherous. But Stevie, the foiling and the introduction of the T-foils that we'll see in Auckland will change the game again.
Yeah, I mean, we're always trying to step up the performance. There's no doubt that will do it. Whether it'll get us quite foiling in these light winds, I'm not sure. It will give us a better shot at that. But all of the sailors out there, as we see that Luke Parkinson grinding on board the boat, Stuart Biffle on the German crew, they're always trying to get the maximum out of these boats, trying to get technology at the highest level. And yeah, SailGP is always pushing that boundary.
Well, SailGP's technology is what helps make it the most exciting race on water. New this season is our Emirates Umpire Studio, where technology like our Ump Amp assists our officials in making instant decisions.
In sailing, protests and penalties traditionally take a long time to resolve, due to teams having to wait for analysis after the racing is over. Now, through SailGP's technology, our umpires can make accurate decisions within seconds with the Ump app.
This is the umpire.
Each boat uses highly accurate GPS tracking systems and thousands of data points that are fed back to the umpires, who are located thousands of miles away in a central hub in London, England. With the data collected from all F50s, they get a virtual eagle-eye view in real time of everything that is happening on the racecourse.
This is the umpire's penalty GBR.
When a driver protests arrival, they press a button in their cockpit which instantly notifies the umpires. The umpires then review the incident and analyse data off the boats to make their assessment and tell the conflicted teams their decision, and award any penalties as quickly as possible so that the race can continue.
Penalty on the French boat. They're going to need to drop behind the fleet. Australia must keep clear.
The Ump app gives the umpires predictions on what course each F50 is taking.
Looks good to me.
Penalty Australia, penalty GBR, penalty Spain.
This technology is revolutionising the sport and ensuring decisions on the racecourse can be made quickly, fairly and accurately.
Well, he's one of the nicest people you ever meet, the man on the left, but you don't want to hear his voice during a race, Stevie. That's Chief Judge Craig Mitchell, and he will dole out the discipline.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible what they do, and Craig and the team in there, you see they're trying to follow this fleet of 11 boats. They got a lot of boats to follow, a lot of boat-on-boat action to try and judge, and it is often centimetres, millimetres in it that makes these decisions, so it's incredible what they're doing, really. We do hear occasionally the odd disagreement from the sailors out there on the water, but we're doing our very best, and you can see there on the screen in front of Craig, I mean, they're looking at absolute millimetres. That's the Great Britain Rockwool Denmark incident that looks to me like they're looking back on now, and that'll, of course, bring up a fair bit of conversation after racing, I'm sure about that.
Yet another great addition to SailGP Season 5, the Emirates Umpire Studio. We'll have much more from that throughout the season. Well, 2 races down, 1 more race to go as we kick things off here for the Rolex SailGP Championship in Dubai. As we take a look back on race number 2, Stevie, and I want to talk about the start. Again, I looked at Germany, it looked like they were completely shut out of this race, and then somehow they found a way to get into it.
Well, they did, and I think actually they've come all the way back to race one here, actually, Todd, now, and it was the United States. We can see Eric said he tried to use the same strategy at the start, and they were right down at that end of the line, but they just didn't get the acceleration, and it was the United States that got the acceleration, right. and once you get out in front, as you say, you get to control your own decisions. I think the interesting thing to look at really is the teams like Switzerland that are managing to wiggle their way through the fleet. No one better than that, of course, than Peter Burling, who seems to pull a rabbit out of the hat more often than not. When he is back in the pack, he just executes those split-second decisions to pull the boat through the fleet.
So the case has been in 2 races. If you get the whole shot, you get the win. As you see, US SailGP taking the victory in race number 1. Really never threatened. Australia had a go at them, and it looked like New Zealand might be able to close the gap on him. But at the end, it was USA, New Zealand, Australia, and Switzerland, the top 4.
It was a tight race, wasn't it? Really, really tight, and those boats that got out in front, we can see, 8th place, middle of the fleet during this point during the race for the Spanish. So it shows even the best can get caught up if you don't manage to get off the start line. But yeah, fantastic start to the season for the US SailGP team, because they must have been feeling the pressure after a disappointing end to season 4.
Now, race number 1, it was all about Lady Liberty. And I gotta be honest with you, Mike Buckley may have sold me on that paint job. It's starting to grow on me.
Yeah, we'll see, Mike Buckley. Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of great things. It's an all-American crew as well, I think, which is interesting. Same with the Kiwi. So top 2 boats in this race are actually all nationality crews. We've had this transfer market, which has seen some huge, huge moves. We thought maybe New Zealand would struggle without Maloney on board. I guess we're going to find out more when we get to a fully foiling event. How much does that hurt New Zealand? But Leo Takahashi, well, he's not looking like a bad replacement so far, is he?
So those are your highlights from race number 1. Race number 2 was won by the Germans, with Canada in 2nd, New Zealand in 3rd. So this is a live look at the pre-start here in Dubai as we get ready for the 3rd and final race of the day. Remember, 10 points on the line for the win. And remember, the first 2 races won by USA and Germany, respectively, so they'll get themselves into position. And for those fans that are not staying with us, we wish you the very best. We will see you at the next event, which will come up in the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix at Auckland. That will be in January 18th and 19th. As we understand, this race has gone a little bit long, but you can always catch us on YouTube and the SailGP.com channels to catch highlights of the 3rd and final race. So the 11 teams now in the box. Again, France not competing this one. Their boat not quite ready for this one. So we will bring the curtain down on day number 1, 120 away from start number 1, as the 11 teams now battle for the big points. 10 points to the winner on the line. Who will win the 3rd and final race? Well, in Dubai, we are about to find out, as the conditions remain very light. All right, 1 minute to go before the start of the 3rd and final race. Stevie, where do you like to be? Who's your dance partner?
Well, it looks like mid-line. Looks like the race committee have changed the race a little bit, and it's middle of the line, the favoured place to start. When we were on that high overhead shot, we can see Australia winding it up from a long way back. We know that the middle of the line is a good place to be if you can do it. But look, left-hand side of our screen, Tom Slingsby, Australia. Is he going to find a gap up here? There's no doubt the roos are going to be coming in fast, but where's the gap? New Zealand, well positioned, mid-line. Look, conservative. Brazil trying to find a gap through. I do not see a gap for this Brazilian boat in there.
Look
Oh,
early.
they need to hit the handbrakes. Got to hit the handbrakes. Canada slow at the top of the line. United States slow. Here come the Roos. Left-hand side a shot. How's Slingsby's timing? I don't know where he sees a gap, but he must be seeing something. It's going to be a big moment. 10 seconds to go. Italy, they're threading the needle through the middle of the fleet. It's so tight in the middle. There is a small gap for Australia.
Look at this.
Has Slingsby got it right? How's your timing, Tom Slingsby? Oh, he's thread the needle. Have a look at it. Unbelievable there from the Australian, but at the last minute they didn't quite get foiling there through the gap. Spain well positioned, Switzerland, Italy and Great Britain, but can anyone match the speed of the Australians in the drag race to Mark 1?
On the right-hand side of your screen is the defending champions of Spain to be in good position as well, but give it up for Tom Slingsby, starting way out the back, came in, nerves of steel, Stevie, because it looked like North Star Canada and the USA had a chance to shut him down.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it was very fair racing from Taylor Canfield, trying to make sure he accelerated that United States boat. Didn't quite work out on Australia. Well, they got the gap. Looks like they're going to lead at Mark 1.
We might be able to get going here. That's the little trim, and we definitely would. Yeah, he's flattened us out.
So he's really thinking about trying to get on the foils here. See if this Australian, but there you go, 2-1. He's trying to pop the boat. Well, here we go.
Ooh, look at this.
Oh, the Roos are flying.
Here straight away, transferring down.
What a slick transition that was. World class. This is going to turn into a huge lead, but it looks like the Canadian North Star Canada's up and foiling Great Britain. They sneak round in third. Can they foil as well? Oh, it's such a big moment in the race. First 3 boats are foiling, and it's going to be tight. That sprint to the top of the course there, the bottom of our course, top of our screen, gate 2, United States. Oh, they're wiggling around, but here we go. Look at the Australians. Can they stick this first manoeuvre? Looking to stay on the foils. Let's keep our eyes on this one.
Close. Turning.
Come on. Here we go.
Angle. I got jib.
Oh,
talk about a sight for sore eyes.
Oh, silky smooth Slingsby on that one. That was absolutely magic there for the Australians. They're going to lead at gate 2, and this is going to be a decent lead, I think, from here. They've fallen off the foils, but look how patchy the wind is. Those dark patches on the water there, that's different gusts of wind coming down. You can see how hard to read it is for the crews out there at the moment, as we see Australia there in second place, well set up for a left turn. Great Britain some 100 metres behind, but up to second. And New Zealand, top left-hand side of screen, first to manoeuvre away. They're back in the pack. Has Berlin got a magic trick for us in this race?
So it's Australia, Great Britain, Canada, and Italy. Ruggero Tita, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist for Red Bull Italy, having his best start as they sit in a top 5 position. Stevie, I like to call this salvage mode. In this third race today, you are now trying to salvage points, getting ready for tomorrow's 2 fleet races.
Yeah, well, our great one-time commentator, Freddie Dave Carr, he'd always talk about you can afford one bad one, but you can't afford a couple. As we see it, look, the British are up and foiling, so are Canada, chasing down. Great Britain are going to look to go round the outside on Australia here. It's going to be interesting. What does Fletcher choose? Does he go around the outside, or does he choose to follow directly behind Australia?
So Dylan Fletcher will follow Tom Slingsby, and here comes Giles Scott and North Star Canada. That's your top 3, and look at the speed by Emirates GBR.
Yeah, and Australia have got to keep clear now. It's going to be a big boat speed advantage to Emirates Great Britain. Oh, Australia have done a nice job there. I'm surprised Fletcher wasn't a bit more aggressive.
So are we talking disturbed air now for Emirates GBR?
I think they're both just about clear right now, but they're about to sail in towards this boundary. That was Hannah Mills saying we'll get boundary protection, but the problem is when they both manoeuvre, it's going to be so easy for Australia to turn directly in front of Emirates Great Britain.
You like what Spain's doing?
Well, it's worked well for New Zealand both times, hasn't it, Todd? But as they come into this boundary, expect Slingsby to be very aggressive with the Great Britain boat and part the boat directly in front.
Yeah, pressing. All on boat speed here. Yeah, I've got
weird screen.
Yeah, bad screen.
Big gap there. Those first few boats got up on the foils, Todd, and managed to make a lot of distance here up through the fleet. New Zealand have gained a few. There you go. Look at that. Australia. There is zero love lost there. Absolute slam dunk in the face of Emirates Great Britain. They'll be putting disturbed air all over the British boat now. It's going to be hard for Emirates Great Britain to live there.
Forget. Nice.
Dylan Fletcher might be second-guessing what he did when he followed the Australians around that last gate. So it is Australia out in front. Great Britain maintains their position. Emirates GBR in second. North Star Canada third. Then you got the champions from last year, Spain in fourth, and Italy. Red Bull Italy top 5.
Yeah, that's a nice performance actually, because they're going to get out of this right turn at the bottom here at gate 2 in good shape. So it could be a great race for Italy. New Zealand stuck a little bit back in the pack. They're going to move up a bit. Australia, well, they're going to stretch away, I think, from here. Big advantage. Got the fleet all heading their way. And what's this we got down here? We can see the wind speed. Well, it's pretty even across the course, really. But if anyone's in more wind, it's Spain right now. Good news for Botín. But what a gap in the fleet. Those first few boats got the jump, quite literally jumped out of the water, got foiling, flew away. And now Australia, they're reaping the benefits.
And Stevie, we talked about this in races 1 and 2. Topsy-turvy on the fleet, because look at Germany, the winners of the last race. They are now sitting in 8th place, with New Zealand in 10th place as we check in down on the water. Lisa Darman, and it looks like it's a little sportier down there. Still patchy?
Straight away, no matter what. I think we will.
It is so patchy out here, but the thing, Todd, that's really difficult is that it's just no pattern to it. So it's not like, you know, to turn left, turn right, and you're good for heaps. You really have to link those pressures together. Spain right now is in the best pressure, but that top left-hand side looks really light to me right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if a right turn at the next gate works out well.
Tom Slingsby choosing not to listen to Lisa Darman here. She's going for a left turn. Normally it does pay to not listen to us commentators.
Aussie crime right there, though. Come on.
But there you go. Watch this Australian boat. Can they get up on foiling? It's marginal right there. There they go.
Here we go, the lift.
Great fans for Australian fans. New wing trimmer Chris Draper. There he is. He loves these light conditions on the wing. Tash Bryant, Jason Waterhouse on the handles, working there, pumping that wing sail. Big lead. Slingsby wants to try and stick the manoeuvre while he's going fast. Speed's your friend, and Spain have got speed up to 4th, chasing down Canada. Can the Aussies keep it on the foils?
Potential foiler.
Drop the board, here we go.
Angle.
And they pull it off.
Oh, they haven't pulled it off yet, Todd. It's close, but I think you might be right. Oh, wizardry there, Todd. You called it, but Silky Slingsby again. They're really the best in these light wind manoeuvres at the moment. Emirates Great Britain, they manoeuvre out on the boundary there. They have the right of way, but what can the Aussies do? Slingsby looks pretty good. This looks well set here. One more manoeuvre for Australia. Back in the pack, Italy, they've managed to stretch their legs. They're up to 4th. Denmark, they're struggling a little bit, Rottwell Denmark today, really. Can't quite put things together. Huge gain for the Australians there. That left turn went really well for them. Canada, Spain, Great Britain. It's going to be a tight battle for second down here, Todd.
USA getting back into the mix now. They sit in 6th place, 1 spot behind Red Bull Italy, who sit in 5th. Big winners on the day, though, if it holds up like this, Stevie, will be Australia. Remember, they've got a 3rd in race number 1, a 5th in race number 2, and a 1 in race number 3. That would put them at the top of the board.
Well, that's right, and they've said just a fantastic race. I mean, what a change of strategy. I can't wait to see Emily's analysis of that last start. I mean, they came in from absolutely nowhere, threaded the needle, but this is a huge victory for Australia. What a confidence booster, and what a performance. Look in the pack here, how tight it is, though. If you're not out in front, it's so tight. The action at gate 3 will be really, really intense.
So it's H1 mode for the Aussies, the 3-time champions of SailGP. They were knocked off their throne last year by the Spaniards in a thrilling finale in San Francisco, but now they flex once again as they come to Dubai, and Tom Slingsby with some silky, slick moves as he makes the transition, is able to foil in this 3rd and final race, and leave no doubt about it, the Emirates winning moment goes to Australia.
There you go.
Light wind there as well. Look at that. Chris Draper, new wing trimmer, getting the big ups from the Australian crew members there. Real nice first day in light winds. They'll be very happy with that. Back in the pack, it's going to be such a tight race. Well, we can see it's pretty tight. Emirates Great Britain, they're 2nd, but Spain have leapfrogged North Star. Canada at the moment, that's a big moment for Diego Botín and his crew. Of course, they normally love these light winds. This next manoeuvre will be tight. Really going to be tight, this next manoeuvre. Canada lead the turn. Spain should match. It's all about acceleration out of this manoeuvre. Canada first to turn, Spain match. None of them are going to catch Great Britain from here, but what are they doing? Oh, Spain are going wide. They've got to avoid that finish line mark.
Look at this.
It's no problem. That's not a mark of the course for them right now. They're allowed to go round there. All they're focused on is Mark 4 on Spain. Great Britain and Canada, their eyes are purely set on Mark 4.
Do you think Diego Botín was thinking far enough ahead to think, I'm going to block Canada and get priority?
I'm not sure if he quite quite saw that mark from the slight inflection in tempo. My Spanish isn't great, but the fact that the voice went quite as high-pitched as that, I think maybe they hadn't quite seen it, but they kept some incredible speed, and they've actually sailed a lovely move here. They're now entering that yellow circle. They have the right of way. 5th place, New Zealand have made another little gain. They just keep chipping away here. They might be past the Italian boat. Italy has the right of way. New Zealand, they must keep clear of Italy. It's going to be really tight. Oh my word, look at this. Supercharged US boat there. They're coming in, flying in on the foils. New Zealand must keep clear. It's going to be so tight. Here comes Canfield. Can he stick the manoeuvre? It's really tight. Clear ahead for New Zealand. Just.
Yeah, helping me out with the brake.
Oh, now it's all about who gets into that yellow circle first between New Zealand and New Zealand and United States here. Going to be New Zealand. They have the right of way into the mark.
Yeah, we will on Italy though, right?
USA will have room on Italy. It's so tight here. What a comeback by the US team.
Yeah, they are fighting for points right now. The Americans would love to finish in 6th place. That would give them great points on the day. And here they come around the last gate. This is the DP World Gate, and it is Berlin coming around just behind the Canadians. And here comes Brazil.
Look at Mubadala, Brazil. Martine going around the outside here. If she can keep the speed on, you've got to go really wide, Martine, really wide and keep it fast. What a moment for the Brazilian crew. They're coming around the outside. So much speed. They've got to keep clear. They have no right of way. They've got to go wide. Keep it wide. Keep it fast. Oh, they come. Brazil on the outside, slingshotting around the US boat. It's all about acceleration for Canfield now, but it's 4th place for Canada. It's going to be 5th for New Zealand. Could this be a 6th place from nowhere for Brazil? What a manoeuvre at the bottom of the course by Martine Grael and her crew.
Somehow she found the speed, and Mubadala, Brazil, is going to finish in 6th place.
How's this for the fans, Todd? Look at that, 50 metres from the shore. All of these F50s just flying around that last mark. The big loser there's Rockwool, Denmark. Oh, but what an effort by Mubadala, Brazil. Perfect work. And there, Lee McMillan, good way to finish. 2 right.
So Switzerland will come in and finish in 8th, and then it'll be Italy in 9th. And the battle to finish dead last, Germany is going to come in and grab the last point available, with Denmark missing out big time. Wow, take a deep breath, and apologies for the industrial language as they come in after 3 very tense races. Maybe not high speed, but very tense, Stevie. When it comes down to the final gate, the DP World Gate, and everyone wanted the same real estate.
What a moment. Yeah, it was so tight out there on the racecourse.
So let's take a look at the standings. It is New Zealand, 17 points, 2, 3, and a 5. Germany sits in 2nd, even with Switzerland. Australia also in. Look at this, we got a complete logjam now with 14 points. What an amazing run. As we take a look at the Rolex best time start, well, pick your poison, because out the back, once again, it was an amazing maneuver. It was Italy in race number 1 that did the most amazing job. Congratulations to Red Bull Italy and their skipper, Ruggero Tita. And the DP World highest speed of the day, it's got to go to the Australians. Somehow they found a way to get up, and foiling made 2 maneuvers as well. So Stevie, we turn our attention to our final thoughts, and once again, we will turn our attention to tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I mean, Australia SailGP team, what an incredible day out there on the water. They'll be leading at the end of the day. Fantastic.
And that will wrap things up from Dubai. Once again, we'll have day number 2 when we return for the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by Dino Marinas. Out in front, US SailGP with a victory.
Great start by the Brazilians.
Just matching off to make sure they don't lap us running.
Huge moment for the German SailGP team. How's your timing, Tom Slingsby?